Take a deep breath with me for a second. In this explainer, we're taking a hard look at the sheer weight of the modern world. Look, if you're watching this right now, there's a really good chance you're feeling exhausted, and we're going to explore exactly why that is. But more importantly, we're looking at how modern neuroscience and cellular biology offer us a really clear, empowering way out. Because we aren't just talking about living longer here, we're talking about reclaiming the energy and the mental clarity you deserve to have right now. You know that feeling where you wake up and you're already battling brain fog before your feet even hit the floor? It's incredibly common to view that kind of burnout as a personal failure, like you just aren't trying hard enough. But I really want to validate what you're experiencing. This is absolutely not a lack of willpower. What you're feeling is actually a profound biological mismatch. It's a clash between our hyper-stimulated modern environment and our fundamental cellular biology. Your body is doing exactly what it evolved to do, but it's reacting to a world that literally never turns off. And honestly, that mismatch leads us to a pretty staggering statistic. 10 years. Globally, the average person now spends nearly the entire last decade of their life in poor health, battling chronic fatigue, cognitive decline, and illness. Scientists call this the health span gap. Sure, our lifespans have increased, but our health span, those years spent in vibrant, functional health, well, it just hasn't kept pace. Bridging that gap is arguably the ultimate challenge of modern medicine today. Section 1. The modern burnout epidemic, and what happens when stress actually alters our biology. To really understand our exhaustion, we have to zoom way into the microscopic world. You see, chronic psychosocial stress doesn't just make us feel emotionally overwhelmed. It triggers a massive cascade of biological alarms inside our bodies, essentially rewiring your nervous system to just stay on constant high alert. When we're chronically stressed, our bodies pump out elevated levels of cortisol. Now, usually cortisol is great, it helps reduce inflammation, but when it's constantly elevated, your immune cells basically go numb to it. It's a condition called glucocorticoid resistance. The result is this toxic environment of systemic inflammation, which researchers often call inflammaging. Your cellular repair systems get completely depleted because at a cellular level, your body thinks it's fighting for survival every single day. Section 2. Zombie cells and aging clocks. Let's look at the 12 hallmarks of aging. So this systemic stress directly accelerates our biological clocks because aging isn't just time passively ticking by, right? Modern geroscience has actually identified 12 specific cellular hallmarks that drive the aging process. Things like mitochondrial dysfunction and genomic instability, but arguably one of the most fascinating hallmarks is cellular senescence. We call them zombie cells. These are damaged cells that have stopped dividing, but they absolutely refuse to die. Instead, they just sit around in your tissue, secreting this highly toxic pro-inflammatory cocktail known as the SSAP. This cocktail actively infects healthy neighboring cells, driving fibrosis and chronic inflammation. And here's the really wild part. By the time we hit age 60, up to 15% of cells in certain tissues have morphed into these zombie cells. Naturally, science has been trying to find a quick fix for this. You might have heard of senolytics. These are drugs specifically designed to hunt down and clear out those zombie cells. But we do need a bit of a reality check here. Back in 2026, a lot of early, highly hyped senolytic drugs, like ones targeting specific pathways in the eye, actually failed their clinical trials. The biology turned out to be just too complex for a simple one-size-fits-all miracle pill. The field definitely isn't dead, though. It's just evolving. Advanced AI-driven precision senotherapeutics are currently being developed to target the unique vulnerabilities of very specific senescent states. But the main takeaway for us is this. While longevity clinics offer all sorts of protocols, we can't just wait around for a magic pill to clear our cellular damage. We've got to do the work ourselves. Section 3. The brain's night shift. This is all about washing away that brain fog. Okay, let's look at one of the absolute most remarkable discoveries in modern neuroscience when it comes to recovery. When you're awake, your brain is functioning like a high-performance engine, and just like any engine, it produces exhaust. The waking brain actively builds up metabolic waste, including neurotoxic proteins like amyloid beta and tau, which are closely linked to dementia. But the sleeping brain? It doesn't just power down. It actually shifts into this highly organized fluid transport state that is specifically designed for deep cleaning. This cleaning mechanism is called the glymphatic system. It was discovered just over a decade ago, and it's essentially a brain-wide macroscopic waste clearance network. During deep, non-REM slow-wave sleep, your brain cells literally shrink slightly. They physically shrink,
Synchronized chemical waves then drive rhythmic changes in your blood vessels, and this pumping action forces cerebrospinal fluid through the brain tissue, powerfully washing away those dementia-linked proteins. It's like a power wash for your mind. But if you're chronically stressed or lacking deep sleep, this system fails, and that's exactly when the heavy brain fog rolls in.
And the crazy thing is, we can actually track this hidden process now. Heart rate variability, or HRV, which is that subtle variation in time between your heartbeats, is really emerging as a critical biomarker here. Because your HRV during sleep closely tracks the brain's synchronized chemical rhythms, modern consumer wearables can literally give you a glimpse into how efficiently your lymphatic engine is clearing out the day's metabolic waste and stress. Section 4. The gut-brain axis and the vital vagus connection. Now, the brain doesn't act in a silo. When we talk about nervous system regulation, we absolutely have to talk about digestion. Your gut and your brain are intimately linked by the vagus nerve. Think of it as a two-way biological superhighway. When you're trapped in psychological stress, it physically sabotages your gut. It alters intestinal permeability, what people sometimes call leaky gut, which actually allows bacterial fragments to slip into your bloodstream. And that creates this vicious feedback loop. The loss of beneficial bacteria drives even more neuroinflammation, which makes you feel even more anxious and fatigued. On the flip side, nutrient-dense protocols like the Mediterranean diet enrich protective microbes which produce metabolites that actually cross the blood-brain barrier to calm your nervous system down. Which brings us to Section 5, your longevity protocol, the actual blueprint for tomorrow. So we've covered a lot of deep biology, right? From zombie cells to brainwashing fluid and gut-brain highways. Now let's shift into empowerment and figure out how to synthesize this neuroscience into a practical daily lifestyle design. Let's start with how we eat. The landmark calorie study, which is the first really rigorous trial of long-term calorie restriction in healthy humans, found something amazing. Just a moderate 12% reduction in calories significantly slowed the biological pace of aging as measured by highly advanced epigenetic clocks. It also decreased circulating markers of those toxic zombie cells we talked about earlier. It proves that just giving our digestive system a slight break fundamentally signals our cells to prioritize deep repair over constant growth. Next up is the movement blueprint. I really want you to reframe movement. Stop viewing it as just a chore for weight loss and start seeing it as the ultimate cellular medicine. It literally forces your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, to rejuvenate. The science points to a very clear trio here. 150 to 300 minutes of moderate zone 2 aerobic activity to build metabolic flexibility. You intersperse that with high-intensity interval training to stress and strengthen the mitochondria. And finally, resistance training, which is absolutely critical to preserve muscle and bone density as we age. Then we have the sleep architecture protocol. Remember that glymphatic system? Protecting your slow-wave sleep architecture is just completely non-negotiable if you want to prevent cognitive decline and actually wash away that brain fog. The science is incredibly definitive here. Keep your sleeping environment cool, ideally between 65 and 68 degrees. Block blue light a couple of hours before bed so your natural melatonin can rise. And crucially, eliminate late-day caffeine and alcohol. Both of those severely fragment that deep, restorative phase of sleep you desperately need. And finally, we absolutely must actively pull our bodies out of that chronic fight or flight state. Cellular stress reduction isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a biological necessity. Just 10 minutes of daily meditation has been proven to lower cortisol. Simple 4-7-8 breathwork physically activates that vagus nerve we discussed, literally signaling to your brain that you are safe. Time in nature buffers stress hormones, and honestly, perhaps most beautifully, strong social connections and a sense of community are scientifically proven to protect your cognitive function and build deep resilience. Ultimately, your daily choices, how you breathe, how you sleep, eat, and move, those are the ultimate anti-aging medicine. It's not about waiting for some futuristic magic pill. It's about the compound interest of small, protective choices. You are just adding extra years to your life. You are adding life, vital energy, and profound mental clarity to your years. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. What is one small cellular habit you are going to change today to reclaim your tomorrow? Will it be committing to getting to bed 30 minutes earlier? Maybe trying a short breathing exercise to stimulate your vagus nerve. Whatever it is, you've got the blueprint now. The power to truly optimize your health span is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take that first step today.